my dad is an architect. So he will always allow me to draw on his super big blueprints. So I was used to draw on super large scale, even though I was a baby. So yeah, when I started painting and doing graffiti and street art, it was everything about tags only. It was nothing too fancy, too artistic. You know, it was just about being cool and leaving my mark on the walls. Back in the days, people used to hate us, even if I would be painting a wall that I had the permission to paint. The people on the streets would be cursing at me, throwing garbage at me. It was really crazy. Nowadays, the people that approach me and they say like, hey, bro, this is so amazing. I love that you do. I want to hire you to come and paint something for me on my business, on my apartment, sell me paintings, prints, and stuff like that. It has changed a lot, both aesthetically, how the people appreciates it and accepts it nowadays. Nowadays, there are not as many tags and graffiti letters as it used to. Nowadays, it's much more like painting realism or painting, like this much more academic art, kind of muralistic stuff. Okay. So yeah, it has changed a lot. It has evolved a lot. Sometimes I think people is being super, maybe politically correct with each other. So no one is doing stuff that for them to stand out because they don't want to offend someone else.
Okay, interesting.
It is changing a little bit. I don't like that much, but anyways, if you say something that someone else doesn't like, they can shut down your Instagram, you know?
Okay,
so people being more careful. So I as an artist, that is not very cool because then you're not allowing yourself to be true to who you really are. I think like anything that you do, well, as any human do, for example, you can be a doctor or a lawyer, yet you can have like, maybe you don't have the life that you want, right? You have to be like always studying and improving and learning how to negotiate or create a better business for you to be in those top positions at anything. So with arts, I think it's the same. I think that, yeah, even though I'm not at the very top or where I want to be eventually, I can make a good living. You know, I can support my family. I have 3 daughters, so I can support 5 people, you know, like my wife, my 3 daughters, and myself. But I think it always depends on you, because I've seen so many amazing, talented artists that are even way better than me. Yet they are just like, you know, playing video games the whole day, okay, like slacking on Instagram, you know, waiting for, I don't know, the universe or some magical thing to happen that someone is going, you know, the brand is going to show up and say like, hey, you're amazing, please come with us. You know, they are not putting all of that work, extra work that is needed, because of course we can be talented, yet there is discipline, and yet you have to be, for example, I have to think like, oh, what's the next ideas that I'm going to produce? How can I start improving my website or my Instagram, or like the way I communicate who I am, my ideas? It goes way beyond that. I would love to say that it's only about the artworks, but no, there are many, many more things that I've seen many guys that even though they are really talented and they deserve lots of success, they don't achieve it because of that, because they're just waiting, I don't know, like for someone to tell them like, you are the chosen one, when that doesn't happen. Even though I've been painting for 20 years, it was like 5 years ago when I said that I wanted to become a professional at doing this. So I took myself seriously. And I said like, so this is going to be a business for real. It's not a hobby anymore. This is what I think I'm really good at. So let's go. I will be putting all of my everything I had on this bet, you know? Okay. What happens is that it's always like that. The riskiest, like if you win, the paycheck is going to be like bigger and better. I think the murals are really like super pop culture. Mm-hmm. Like, many of them, I think they lack lots of essence. All of them, they want to be the same. You know, like all of us, we want to paint stuff that is appealing to everyone. So let's paint girls and birds and flowers only.
Okay.
If we're going to criticize someone, we only criticize, well, back on days, Donald Trump.
Okay.
Besides that, all of the murals were, I think, empty.
Okay.
They are empty. Like, where's the message? Where are what you really want to express? If you also notice it, that is where the politically correctness thing is like the strongest in the world. It happened the same with their arts. And Latin Americans, even though we still have some of that, I think we keep it a little bit more raw. Okay. You know, it is a little bit more hardcore, a little bit more less with less restraints. Okay. You know, it is more free. They decided to hire one guy called Giuliani, who was like Trump's lawyer. He was also the mayor of New York City. And in New York City, he used a program where he was, there was like zero tolerance with graffiti and all of that. So then what the government decided to do is they decided to hire him to come and apply that same program here. So on New York, it worked pretty well. Here it did. One of the things that they said is like, we're not going to tolerate graffiti at all, but we're going to start investing on many areas. And we're going to also bring lots of arts and cultural programs to these places, give free art workshops, give lots of amazing art things here. One of them was that they decided to also invest on murals. So at the beginning, it was like just like really small murals. But then what happened is that during the pandemic, something that occurred is that the government said, since everybody's going to be locked inside their homes, we want them that whenever they go out, once again, they can find how the city has improved in so many ways. And one of those, it was that they decided to create lots of murals. I was hired to go and paint lots of those murals. And it was really cool. So basically, it's those two things, the ones that changed everything here. Something that happens also nowadays is that whenever there's some illegal graffiti showing up, the government goes and erases it and cleans it. The same day it shows up, they go and boom, with gray, only with gray. So what you see nowadays, it's only murals and gray walls. It is not political at all. In the beginning, last century, like Diego's murals and Siqueiros and all of those artists were really political because that's what the government actually wanted to. You know, they want to educate the new, all of the people. Yeah. For them to know that the new political party who won was the best, and they would be so proud of being socialists and all of that. Right now, it's not like that. They don't care about it. They just care about beautifying the city. Okay. So it's not that political. Even as artists nowadays, I will even criticize myself. The work that I do most of the times with the government is not even deep at all. Sometimes I will admit it. I don't think it's art. Sometimes I just I just think it's decoration on the walls, super huge, impressive decorations. I have been doing, sometimes I'm like, I don't want to do decoration stuff. I want to add some deep message to these murals. And I do it, but it's not in all of them. Because also, I think something happens is that you need time to think about how you want to convey a message, to send an idea. And sometimes with the government, what happens is that they come and say, they have told me, hey, you have 3 murals to paint this week. So I'm like, dude, I have no inspiration for that. I have to work like a machine, producing and producing. I have and achieve the results, because it's not only going and painting, it's also thinking like, what am I going to paint now? How do I design these ideas? What I've noticed is that at the end of the day, every single human expression and the beginning is kind of contracultural and revolutionary. Those same generations, when they grow up, they make it mainstream. So I think that's what happened, that the people who are now in charge of deciding about the marketing campaigns and the targets that they have, or even the politicians that they are now in power, they grew up with all of these culture. So they don't reject it. It's part of them. So it becomes part of its mainstream. I don't care about the style that you got. I don't care if you paint on a train or if you do it on a wall that you got permission. For me, like, definitely, dude, why are you here? Are you, the common thing, like a poser? Or you really love this thing? Not just like, oh yeah, this is so cool and trendy. He.
Right.
Let's upload this and let's pay for ads on Instagram and let's pay for fake followers, because then you see accounts of people who have like 40K, 40,000 followers. Yet you go and see their posts and they have 25 likes, 40 likes. It is like, what the fuck? It's you paid for followers. What for? What? Who do you want to? What do you want to prove? If you don't have the skills, if you're not doing for passion, just go and do something else. The riskiest, like you're gonna achieve lots of respect. That's why there are these things about painting wall cars and doing all of this. Right. It still is. If I see someone doing something illegal that is so incredible, I will respect it more than I do a mural. Even though the beauty of a mural might be, their aesthetic value is like, or the way it's been executed is much more perfect. Right. I'm like, dude, but this guy was doing these guys had to do rappel. These guys had to go inside of the sewers to go and paint inside of the subway. Of course, I understand that. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't care about what you do, but if you are really passionate about this. From what I am as an artist, and I understand how sometimes it feels and what you want to create, I think they're pretty angry. Yeah. They are really upset with many things that have been, I don't think it's been really fair. Then you can see like human expression, at least the way they express it, it's via two ways. Via that amazing art that they do on street art or on paintings, because it's not only street art, it's also their artists, how they create that type of raw art. Yeah. Even though Mexican is also really colorful, here is much more like joyful and cool and yeah, let's be cool. Over there, yet it's colorful, there is drama and pain on what they do. And also on their music. Yeah. The cumbia that they play there, even though it sounds joyful and party, it is many times it's super dramatic, like a soap opera. The themes are like really soap opera. So then it tells you like why do they have to create this? What are the things that they are going on that makes them want to release this to the world? Yeah. So yeah, then it's like I can understand a little bit, because I'm not on their position, why they do it like that. Right. Here in Mexico, we have something similar, that is the art from Oaxaca. Mm-hmm. Those guys, even when they do protests, in comparison to the ones in Mexico City, they are creating riots and setting things on fire, which you don't see that thing going on here in Mexico City. It's very rare when there are riots here. Right. In Oaxaca, it is like almost 24/7, 365 days of the year. So the art they do is like also pretty raw. Well, for me, many times, this thing is about a competition. Also because I started on the hip hop culture. When I started painting graffiti, I was also doing rap and going into the rap battles. Okay. Nice. So for me, it's also competition. I love it. And I think nowadays the world says like, hey, let's collaborate, all of us to go together and let's be cool. I'm like, hell no, I want to get into the competition. Yeah, I want to be better than the rest of the other dudes. I want to destroy them. Yeah. So yeah, I want to go and do it. I love it. I love competition, because I think the way I see competition is not like on this way of only destroying your enemy, yet just for ways to me to improve, because I love to compete with guys who are better than I do. Okay. I became, for example, for the past 2 years, I improved so much because the guys who I've been competing with for these positions at painting the murals for the government, they're really good at painting hyper-realistic stuff. Okay. They are really good. And they're really how do I say, like, efficient.
Okay.
So when sometimes something took me 4 days to finish, they would finish it on 2 days. So then I said, like, okay, how can I improve? How can I improve? They are just kicking my ass. How can I improve? So then I started improving my methods of painting. I had to paint faster. I had to be way much better. So it has made me improve in so many ways. That's why I love competition, because it makes me improve